What if I told you that a 2,000-year-old mummy sitting quietly in a museum suddenly started talking to scientists? Not literally, of course. But after more than a century of silence, modern scans revealed a secret hidden inside the body. A discovery so strange it sounded like something straight out of an Indiana Jones movie. And no, this is not a horror film script. This is a real archaeological mystery known as the Mysterious Lady of Warsaw. And her story starts long before the United States even existed. Think about that for a second. This woman lived around the 1st century BC, more than 1,500 years before Columbus sailed to America. Now imagine her body surviving all the way to the modern world, only for scientists to realize they misunderstood her for over 100 years. Pretty wild, right? So let's rewind the clock. Back in the early 1800s, Europe had a serious obsession with ancient Egypt. Artifacts were being shipped across the continent: statues, scrolls, coffins, and yes, mummies. Kind of like the ultimate historical treasure hunt. One of those mummies eventually arrived in Poland. In 1826, it became part of the collection of the University of Warsaw and later the National Museum in Warsaw. Inside a beautifully decorated coffin covered with hieroglyphs. The text on the coffin told a simple story. It belonged to a male Egyptian priest named Horjihudi. Case closed. Or so everyone thought. For more than 100 years, museum visitors walked past the display. Historians cataloged it. Students studied it. Nobody questioned the label. But here's the thing about science. Sometimes the past waits patiently for better technology. Fast forward to 2016. Researchers from the Warsaw Mummy Project decided to run CT scans on several mummies. Basically the same type of scan doctors use in hospitals today. Except this patient had been dead for 2,000 years. And that's when things got weird. The scan showed something unexpected. The skeleton didn't look male. The pelvis shape didn't match a man at all. Which meant something shocking. The so-called priest wasn't a priest. It wasn't even a man. It was a woman. Imagine working in a museum for decades and suddenly realizing the label is completely wrong. That's a pretty awkward staff meeting. But the surprises weren't over yet. Because while studying the scans, scientists noticed something strange inside the woman's abdomen. A tiny shape. At first, they thought it might be damaged tissue. Or maybe debris left during the mummification process. But then someone noticed something that made them stop. A shape that looked suspiciously like a tiny foot. Yes, a foot. That moment changed everything. Researchers concluded the woman had died while pregnant, around 26 to 30 weeks, roughly the beginning of the 3rd trimester. For comparison, that's around the time many modern babies could survive with medical care. But this was ancient Egypt, more than 2,000 years ago. She was likely between 20 and 30 years old when she died. Which meant the mummy might be the first known pregnant mummy ever discovered. Let that sink in for a moment. Inside a coffin in a Warsaw museum, there might be both a mother and her unborn child. That's the kind of twist you expect in a Netflix documentary. But science had more questions than answers. For example, why was the baby still inside the body? Normally, ancient Egyptian embalmers removed internal organs during mummification. Yet in this case, the fetus appeared to remain inside the womb. Why? One idea is surprisingly simple. Removing it might have damaged the body. Another theory suggests something more spiritual. Some researchers believe Egyptians may have seen the unborn child as inseparable from the mother in the afterlife. Meaning mother and child would travel to the next world together. Kind of haunting, but also strangely beautiful. But here's where things get even stranger. Inside the sealed body, chemical reactions began during decomposition. Researchers believe the environment became extremely acidic, almost like a natural preservation chamber. Some scientists even compared it to a kind of biological pickling process. And that makes this mummy incredibly valuable for science. But here's another twist. The coffin itself didn't belong to her. Egyptians sometimes reused coffins, especially after tomb robberies. So the mysterious woman may have been placed in a priest's sarcophagus long after it was made. Think of it like wearing someone else's name tag for eternity. And what actually killed her? Scientists still don't know. Her identity is a mystery. Her child was never born. Yet modern technology gave them a voice again. Should we keep studying ancient remains like this? Or should we leave the past in peace? I'm really curious what you think. Drop your opinion in the comments. And if you enjoy strange stories where history feels stranger than fiction, make sure you subscribe, because the past still has a lot of secrets left to uncover.